Hi there. This is Lori with Texas Barber and Cosmetology Educators. It's time to dig into infection control for barbering and cosmetology. Grab your notebook and let's get started. In Part 1, we will explore the following objectives. Explain infection control. Describe federal and state regulatory agencies. Recognize the principles of infection. And identify different types of pathogens. It is important to know about the pathogens professionals and their clients may be exposed to and their modes of transmission. Understanding and practicing proper infection control within the laws and rules will help safeguard professionals' health, the health of their clients, and their business. Practicing safety precautions on a daily basis protects their clients and their license. A responsible beauty professional is conscientious about infection control and safety. Infection control refers to the methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of infectious organisms from one person to another. Transmission can occur through contaminated implements, tools, or equipment. As a beauty professional, it is your responsibility to apply proper infection control methods that safeguard both your health and the health of your clients. You are also responsible for practicing safe work habits to help prevent accidents and injuries in the workplace. The terms cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting, and sterilizing are not the same. Cleaning is a mechanical process that uses soap and water or detergent and water to remove visible dirt, debris, and many germs. Cleaning also removes invisible residue that can interfere with proper disinfection. Sanitizing is a chemical process that reduces the number of disease-causing germs on a clean surface to a safe level. Infection control professionals often view the word sanitation as a layperson's or marketing term, such as in hand sanitizers, and prefer the term cleaning to describe the step before disinfecting. Disinfecting is a chemical process used on non-porous items with specific products that destroy harmful organisms, such as bacteria, viruses, and fungi, on tools and environmental surfaces. Disinfection does not kill bacterial spores. Sterilizing is the process that completely destroys all microbial life, including spores. This level of control requires specialized equipment such as an autoclave, which uses heat and pressure. Federal agencies set guidelines for the manufacture, sale, and use of equipment and chemical ingredients. Also, monitor safety in the workplace and place limits on the types of services you can perform. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also known as OSHA, standards address issues relating to the handling, mixing, storing, and disposing of products, general safety in the workplace, and your right to know about any potentially hazardous ingredients contained in the products and how to avoid these hazards. A safety data sheet, SDS, is a 16-category standard format document required by OSHA for all chemical products. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. The EPA registers all types of disinfectants sold and used in the United States. Disinfectants are chemical products that destroy most bacteria, excluding spores, fungi, and viruses on surfaces. Before manufacturers can sell a product for disinfecting surfaces, tools, implements, or equipment, they must obtain an EPA registration number that certifies that the disinfectant, when used correctly, will be effective against the pathogens listed on the label. State agencies regulate licensing, enforcement, and professional conduct while you are on the job. These include licensing agencies, state boards, commissions, and health departments. Enforcement of these rules happens through inspections and investigations of consumer complaints. Penalties may vary and can include warnings, fines, probation, or even suspension or revocation of licenses. Now, let's talk about laws and rules. What's the difference? Laws, also known as statutes, are created by federal and state legislatures. They define the scope of practice, or what each license legally allows the holder to do, and they provide the framework for regulatory agencies to make rules. Rules and regulations are more specific than laws. They apply the law by establishing detailed standards of conduct and can be updated frequently. It is always the responsibility of barbers and cosmetologists to stay informed about changes to the rules and regulations and to comply with them. Ignorance of the law is never an acceptable reason or excuse for noncompliance. Transmission is the process by which pathogens move between individuals or from objects to people. It is the first step in how we become sick. Direct transmission. Direct transmission is the most familiar form of spread. It occurs when pathogens are passed through direct contact, such as touching, kissing, coughing, sneezing, or even talking. Common examples include parasitic infections and warts. Indirect transmission. Indirect transmission happens when pathogens are transferred via a contaminated object or surface. Tools such as razors, extractors, or nippers, as well as environmental surfaces where pathogens linger, can all serve as intermediaries. Examples include Salmonella, ringworm, and MRSA. Airborne and respiratory droplet transmission. Airborne and respiratory droplet transmission both involve pathogens from the respiratory tract being expelled when someone coughs, sneezes, or talks. The difference lies in particle size and behavior. Airborne particles are smaller, remain suspended in the air for longer periods, and can travel farther. Respiratory droplets are larger, fall more quickly, and can be more effectively controlled with barriers such as masks. A common example is influenza. When using any disinfectant in the salon, spa, or barbershop, you should always know how to read the label carefully. Each product must include the list of pathogens it is effective against, which should include HIV, HPV, and MRSA. If Pseudomonas aeruginosa is listed, the disinfectant will also kill many other less resistant bacteria. EPA registration number, confirming the product is approved and regulated. The terms bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal, which indicate the product can destroy bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Mixing and usage instructions, including how often the solution should be changed. At a minimum, disinfectants used in professional settings must be bactericidal, capable of destroying harmful bacteria, virucidal, capable of destroying viruses, fungicidal, capable of destroying molds and fungi. Always mix, use, and replace disinfectants exactly as directed on the label to ensure they remain safe and effective. In some states, products must also be effective against tuberculosis, tuberculocidal. Be sure to check your state board rules and regulations to confirm compliance. An infectious disease is caused by pathogenic or harmful organisms that enter the body. Cleaning and disinfecting procedures are designed to prevent the spread of these infections and diseases. In general, the risk of infection can be greatly reduced by following a few simple steps. Eliminate pathogens through proper hand washing, cleaning, and disinfection. Clean and disinfect tools and equipment after every service. Keep your skin intact to reduce entry points for bacteria. Use gloves, lotion, and protective barriers. Be prepared to turn away clients who show visible signs of illness. Personal habits. Make it a daily practice to follow the rules of proper cleaning and disinfection, both at work and at home. Hand washing, cleaning, and disinfecting are essential habits that allow you to protect your own health, as well as the health and safety of your clients. When a disease can be spread from one person to another, it is considered a contagious disease, also called a communicable disease. Some of the most common contagious diseases that prevent a beauty professional from safely servicing a client include the common cold, ringworm, conjunctivitis, pink eye, and various viral infections. These infections are most often transmitted through dirty hands, particularly under the fingernails and in the spaces between the fingers. Because of this, strict attention to hand hygiene is one of the most effective ways to stop the spread. To prevent the transmission of infectious diseases, beauty professionals must understand and be prepared to address 5 types of potentially harmful organisms. Contamination is the presence, or the reasonably anticipated presence, of blood or other potentially infectious materials on an item's surface, as well as visible debris or residues such as dust, hair, or skin. Decontamination is the process of removing blood or other potentially infectious materials from an item's surface, along with eliminating visible debris or residues such as dust, hair, and skin. Diagnosis refers to determining the nature of a disease based on its symptoms and/or diagnostic tests. Federal regulations prohibit salon professionals from performing a diagnosis, as this role is reserved for licensed medical practitioners. Finally, the term germs is a non-scientific synonym often used to describe disease-producing organisms. Occupational diseases are illnesses that result from conditions linked to employment, such as prolonged or repeated overexposure to certain products or ingredients. Parasitic disease is illnesses caused by parasites, including lice and mites. Pathogenic disease is a disease produced by harmful organisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites. Toxins, poisonous substances created by certain microorganisms, including some bacteria and viruses. Finally, toxins are poisonous substances created by certain microorganisms, including some bacteria and viruses. Bacteria, or singular bacterium, are single-celled microorganisms that share both plant and animal characteristics. A microorganism is any organism that is microscopic or submicroscopic in size. Bacteria can be found almost everywhere: on the skin, in water, in the air, on decayed matter, on environmental surfaces, in body secretions, on clothing, and even under the free edge of the nails. Because they are so small, they can only be seen with the aid of a microscope. There are thousands of different species of bacteria, which fall into 2 main categories: non-pathogenic and pathogenic. Non-pathogenic bacteria are harmless and often helpful. They do not cause disease and, in fact, perform many useful functions. For example, non-pathogenic organisms are used in the production of yogurt, cheese, and certain medicines. Inside the human body, they aid digestion, protect against infection, and stimulate the immune system. Pathogenic bacteria, on the other hand, are harmful microorganisms. They can cause disease or infection when they invade the body. Because of this, salons, spas, and barbershops must always uphold strict cleaning and disinfecting standards to prevent the spread of pathogenic microorganisms. There can be no bacterial infection without the presence of pathogenic bacteria. Therefore, if pathogenic bacteria are eliminated, clients cannot become infected. Inflammation is a condition in which the tissue of the body reacts to injury, irritation, or infection. Inflammation is characterized by redness, heat, pain, and/or swelling. Pus is a fluid containing white blood cells, bacteria, and dead cells, and is the byproduct of the infectious process. The presence of pus is a sign of a bacterial infection. A local infection, such as a pimple or abscess, is confined to a particular part of the body and appears as a lesion containing pus. A systemic infection is an infection where the pathogen has spread throughout the body rather than staying in one area or organ. MRSA, Staphylococci, are among the most common bacteria that affect humans and are found routinely in our environment. In salons, spas, and barbershops, staph bacteria are most often spread through direct skin-to-skin contact, pedicure bowls, or the use of unclean tools and implements. Staph is responsible for illnesses such as food poisoning, toxic shock syndrome, and even certain flesh-eating diseases. Some strains are highly resistant to standard treatments like antibiotics. A serious example is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, better known as MRSA. Clients who seem completely healthy may unknowingly carry this organism into the shop, where it can spread to others. MRSA typically begins as a skin infection, appearing as pimples, rashes, or boils that are difficult to treat. Without proper care, it can progress to a systemic infection with devastating effects, including death. Mycobacterium is another large family of bacteria commonly found in soil and water. In recent years, certain strains have been linked to severe, disfiguring infections associated with pedicure bowls. To reduce risks, infection control must be taken seriously, and both professionals and clients should keep skin intact and protected. Use lotions regularly to prevent dry, cracked skin, especially in winter, and advise clients not to shave or wax their legs within 24 hours of a pedicure. A virus is a submicroscopic particle that infects and lives inside the cells of a biological organism. Because they are so small, viruses can only be seen under the most powerful microscopes. Viruses that affect humans include measles, mumps, chickenpox, smallpox, rabies, yellow fever, hepatitis, polio, influenza, HIV, which causes AIDS, and even the common cold. Unlike bacteria, which can live and reproduce on their own, viruses can only survive and multiply by invading other cells and becoming part of them. Another important difference is that bacterial infections can usually be treated with antibiotics, while viral infections cannot. Viruses are difficult to kill without also damaging the host cells they live in. Although there is no cure for viruses, prevention is possible. Vaccinations, along with frequent hand washing and proper disinfection, remain the best defense against contracting or spreading viral illnesses. Many viruses can remain dormant in the body for months or even years after exposure. However, most viral infections show symptoms within 10 to 14 days. Unfortunately, people are often most contagious in the days just before symptoms appear. Containment is achieved when those who are sick stay home until their symptoms resolve enough that they are no longer contagious. Human papillomavirus, HPV, and herpes simplex virus, HSV, are two highly contagious viruses that can be transmitted in both direct and indirect ways. They are commonly associated with skin-to-skin contact and are often considered sexually transmitted diseases. However, these viruses can also spread indirectly, for example, through shared items such as a wax pot. Because many people who are infected with HPV or HSV show no visible symptoms, strict infection control practices are essential. Following proper safety and sanitation procedures during any service that may involve contact with blood or body fluids is the best way to prevent transmission and protect both professionals and clients. Bloodborne pathogens are disease-causing microorganisms carried in the body through blood or other body fluids. In the salon, spa, or barbershop, the spread of these pathogens can occur anytime the skin is broken. Hepatitis is a blood-borne virus that attacks the liver and can cause serious disease. While it is generally difficult to contract, it is still easier to transmit than HIV because it can be found in all body fluids of an infected person. Unlike HIV, hepatitis can also survive outside the body on surfaces for long periods of time, increasing the risk of indirect transmission. the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, causes acquired immune deficiency syndrome known as AIDS. This disease breaks down the body's immune system, leaving it vulnerable to other illnesses. HIV spreads mainly through blood and less often through other body fluids such as semen and vaginal secretions. A person may live with HIV for many years without showing symptoms, and some people who are HIV positive are unaware of their status. Yet, they still have the ability to infect others. In the professional setting, if you accidentally cut a client's skin, the tool becomes contaminated with whatever is present in the client's blood, including potential bloodborne pathogens. Those implements must never be reused without proper cleaning and disinfection to prevent cross-contamination and protect the health of every client. Would you like me to also create a student-facing safety checklist? Step-by-step actions to take if blood exposure occurs in the salon. To pair with this explanation, fungi with the singular form fungus are single-celled organisms that grow in irregular masses, including molds, mildews, and yeasts. Mildew, another type of fungus, can affect plants or grow on inanimate objects, but does not cause human infections in the salon, spa, or barbershop. The most common fungal infection associated with hair services is Tinea barbi, also called barber's itch. This infection may cause deep, inflamed or non-inflamed patches of skin on the face or at the nape of the neck. Tinea barbi is closely related to Tinea capitis, a fungal infection of the scalp identified by red papules or small spots at the openings of hair follicles. Another fungal infection of concern is ringworm, which appears as circular lesions on the skin. Because these fungal infections can spread easily, they may contraindicate beauty services. All beauty professionals must be vigilant in preventing the spread of scalp and skin infections. In hair services especially, the risk can be reduced by consistently cleaning and disinfecting clippers and other cutting tools. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for proper cleaning and disinfecting methods to protect both clients and professionals. Parasites are organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or inside another organism called a host, while providing nothing in return for that host's survival. Parasites can live on or inside both humans and animals, and they can also be found in food, on plants and trees, and in water. External parasites that affect humans through the skin include ticks, lice, fleas, and mites. Services must never be performed on a client who shows visible signs of a parasitic infestation. In the salon, spa, and barbershop environment, there are two common types of parasites. Head lice are parasites responsible for contagious conditions, such as pediculosis capitis, which occurs when lice infest the scalp. Scabies is another parasitic condition caused by the itch mite that burrows beneath the skin. These contagious diseases and conditions must only be treated by a doctor. To prevent spread, any contaminated countertops, tools, or equipment should be thoroughly cleaned and then disinfected, either with an EPA-registered disinfectant applied for the manufacturer's recommended contact time, or with a bleach solution left in place for at least 10 minutes. As Texas barber and cosmetology educators, we remain committed to honoring the proud history of our profession while preparing the next generation of professionals to uphold the highest standards of safety, skill, and service. Together, we advocate for policies that protect our students, strengthen our programs, and elevate the trades we love. By working in unity, we ensure that barbering and cosmetology in Texas are not only pathways to careers, but also lifelong callings rooted in artistry, professionalism, and community. Visit us online at texasbarbercosmoed.org. See you next time. Make today or what's left of it amazing.